All right, so I'm going to show you a different way to do the sales tax problems. And so if we look at this scenario again, we had a daily lunch special of Bertrand's favorite restaurant being $7.85, not including tax. The final cost of the lunch special with tax is $8.64. And they ask you, what is the tax rate to the nearest 0.1%? All right, so let's look at a different way to do this. At the end of the day, sales tax is a percentage, and it's a percentage that changed the amount that you paid. So what you really can do is use a formula that is called the percent of change formula. And here's what that formula is. It's going to be new minus old divided by old times 100, and that will always give you the percent of change. And we can call that P. All right, so now your only real task is to identify what is the new amount and what is the old amount. Well, if you're going to eventually pay $8.64, then that must be the new amount. And the original amount, or the old, will be $7.85 because you're no longer paying that amount. Once you label them, you're going to plug it in and end up doing calculator work. So if the new is 8.64 minus the old 7.85 divided by the old 7.85, that's going to be multiplied by 100, which is going to be equal to, instead of percent of change, let's just use P. It's also significant that we learn how to use this formula because when you get to algebra, you're going to end up needing to solve if they give you P and ask for N. So like I said, the rest of this becomes just calculator work. So like I said, the rest of this is pretty much just calculator work. Following the order of operations, the first thing you're going to do is subtraction. So 8.64 minus 7.85. And you end up with 0.79. That still has to be divided by 7.85 and multiplied by 100. But the beautiful thing about this is that I no longer have to clear any numbers out of my calculator. So the next step, following order of operations, would be division. So divide by 7.85, and you end up with 0.1006369, just like we did over here. But the good thing is that we never had to separate off this 1, and it avoids a lot of errors that I saw a lot of you making. You still have to multiply by 100 because you haven't done that yet, and that's going to ultimately give you the percentage, the percent of change. So again, since you did not have to clear your calculator, you still have the number in your calculator. Just press times 100, and you end up with 10.06369, just as we did before, which is the percent of change. And so when you round it, you're ultimately going to end up with, because they asked it around to the nearest 10, 10.1, which is the percent of change. So there are a couple of advantages to this. The first is that you did not have to separate off the 1. The second is this formula automatically gives you the answer in percent format. And the third is when you get to algebra, this is going to be critical for you to be able to solve some of the questions, because sometimes they'll ask you for the new or the old based on the percent of change that they give you. And if you have not learned how to use the percent of change formula, it's going to be pretty difficult for you to be able to work that out. All right, so hope that helps, and we'll continue to move along. Send me an email if you have any questions.